The recent COVID-19 pandemic was a lethal one, and we had the experience. And now most of us know what a pandemic is. And today I'm I'm scared about the next likely pandemic, that is antimicrobial resistance. So let's go into basics of what antimicrobial resistance is. Antimicrobial resistance is the way microorganisms like bacteria, they get resistant to medicines. It means, in common parlance, it means your your medicines, your present medicine that is available at pharmacies, they won't work on they won't work on new generation of bacteria. They won't work on new generation of bacteria and other microorganisms. And this is a cause of concern because preparing medicine take a lot of research and tests. So it take years to make a new medicine. And if your present medicine isn't working, so first they become useless, and second, the bacteria that is affecting you, the bacteria that is making you sick, will survive and will not get killed. And if the bacteria will not get killed, your pathology, your disease, it won't be cured. Now it becomes a cause of concern. So the antimicrobial resistance is how microorganisms builds resistance or becomes strong against present class of medicine. Now see how this works. We all know, we all either know or have heard about this topic, this term, evolution. So evolution is transmission of genes via generations. In short, transmission of genes over time. Now this transmission thing, uh, first gene. Gene is your basic basic code, your code, whichever species you are. As of now, other species, dogs, cats, lions, predators, carnivores, herbivores, other zooplankton, phytoplanktons, animals and plant species, those are living in rivers or oceans or ponds, any water body or any secluded and desert area, they don't have the wherewithal and capacity to understand what a basic code is. So for humans, it is that this gene thing, this code is for your phenotype. So this gene or genotype, it is the basic code in your cells, and this basic code is for your phenotype. Phenotype is how you are expressed or how you are visible to the world. So you are an upright animal. Your body is made up of a skeletal system. Your major machinery is done by neurons, that is a neurological system. Then your heart pumps up, your heart reaches those information to every nook and corner of your body so via pumping blood. And this is done by a cardiological system. Then you can think, analyze things, you can read, you can make judgments, you can feel emotions, and this is done by psychological system. So the code for everything, the code for the particular skeleton, the code for your skull, code for your nose, code for your liver, code for your kidneys, code for your neurons, code for the shape of your teeth, code for the shape and color of your eyes, for your voice, for the basal ganglia in your brain, for cerebral cortex. So in short, this code is the way you become visible to the world. So right now, when you are visible to the world as an upright man, so this code is inherent in every cell, and this is called gene. And gene is made up of DNA. DNA is nothing but a repeating unit. We won't go much deeper into it. So you just have to know that how you have hair, ear, you don't have paws, you have palm, you don't have um, bodily hair like that of a grizzly bear, you don't have teeth like crocodile, you have hair on your skull, you you have a mouth that speaks and eats. So all these features, they are called phenotype, and phenotype is reflected this way because this information for this particular phenotype, that this should be the color of your eyes, this should be color, the shape and size of your nose, the pitch of your voice, all this information is contained in the cells in form of genes. And now evolution is about transmission of those genes. Those genes are transmitted by generations, and no particular offspring, no offspring is a complete replica of its parents. So there are some changes. So with time, both genes and the changes that are made to it, those are transmitted. This is how evolution works. This is how life keep itself alive. And we are the vehicles. We are the tools that help in transmission of both biological and cultural material to sustain life. So first thing is genes are transmitted, then there are changes into it which are also transmitted, and the third thing is that need to be understand is that every species have a limited time span. Like in humans, we have a time span of around 70 years, and the parent to parent transmission of this baton of life, this or the parent to parent transmission of key to life, it is it has a gap of 35 years. In the same way, if we take example of any other species, for example dogs, which usually have around 14 years. So this this flame of life is transmitted from parent to parent. In dogs, it may take around 4 to 5 years. In the same way, the changes, as I have said, genes are transmitted intergenerationally, and when genes are transmitted, no two individual of any species, no parent and offspring look alike each other, both genotypically and phenotypically. So there will be changes in the genes and there will be changes in the features. physical features. And now in humans, it takes around 35 years for those changes to be expressed. In the same way, in dogs, it takes around 4 to 5 years for the changes to be expressed. In the same way, the microorganisms, they have a lifespan of microseconds, very short lifespan, and the parent to parent transmission of this key of life, it, it takes even less, say milliseconds. So in milliseconds, both genes and changes in microorganisms are transmitted. Now you can say in 1 second, they or in even one minute of human time, there can be around thousands of generations of microorganisms. So just in a blink of an eye, trillions of bacteria, they die, they transmit their genes, and newer generation come, and they also die, and a further newer generation come. So as I complete the video, there are zillions of bacteria that took birth, they transmitted their genes, and they died. So in bacteria, the changes, they get expressed very fast. My point here is uh, not just bacteria. In microorganisms, it takes very less time for the changes to be transmitted. So if a particular parent of microorganisms, if they face some strain, if they if a medicine is applied to any particular class of lethal bacteria, it's not a benevolent, it's a lethal or a harmful bacteria, and in this particular microorganism, I'm talking about this generation, and this particular generation may have around a million bacteria. Now medicine is applied, and when medicine is applied, so thousands who are not strong enough, they may die, but a fewer, you can say hundreds, or you can say just 50 bacteria survive the attack of medicine. Now these 50 bacteria, they will transmit their genes, because out of million, only 50 survive, so their genes become extinguished. Now those 50, they survive they have survived the attack, and now they transmit their genes. But if they survive the attack of medicine, they have also developed immunity to it. Now this particular class of drug, or this particular class of medicine, it won't work on them. And the key message, how to evade the attack, key to evade the attack of a medicine called A or X. So this medicine X, these 50 bacteria, they evaded it, and they developed immunity, and now this information to survive this medicine, it has been passed on to their generation. So the upcoming generations, they have the code to evade this class of bacteria. Now this class of bacteria won't work on them. So if they affect any individual, this class of bacteria, this generation of or the upcoming generation of bacteria, those have the the information to evade, information to acquire the immunity. If they attack any individual, what will happen? This individual will become sick, and this medicine X won't be helpful, won't work on him. So this way, his treatment becomes a risky affair. Now, let's talk about the causes. What are the causes of antimicrobial resistance? So, whenever your doctor prescribe you something, what they give is they usually give you um, a treatment course for 3 to 4 days, and if the disease is serious, they may give you a course of 7 to 10 days. And what people generally do, that they take a few medicines a couple of days, and when they feel better, they just discard or refuse taking it for any further medicines. So in this way, what happens is that that medicine, it may kill a lot of bacteria, but since you did not complete the course, so in that way a few bacteria will survive, and those 50 or the few survivors, they will evade, they will become immune to this particular drugs. So next time if you become sick, you have to take a higher grade of, generally called, line of drug. So if you become immune to, or if the bacteria develop immunity resistance against first line of drugs, then you are likely end up buying the second line of drug. And if your behavior continues, if if you mm, if you follow the same routine and don't follow through the complete time of this course, the bacteria that affected you, they will become resistant to the second line of drugs, and only the third line of drug will work. The first consequence is financial, that the second line, the higher grade or higher line of drugs, they are expensive and difficult to acquire. You may have to be referred to a higher hospital. Second thing, your mortality increase. If the bacteria surrounding you, because we are all the we uh, at any particular time we are surrounded by trillions of bacteria, trillions of microorganisms, and they are always there. It I can say microorganisms are harmful, the benevolent and the malevolent, the good one and the bad. Both are always there. The trillions of bacteria, trillions of microorganisms are there. And whenever you become sick, or whenever your immune system is not good enough, immune system is not fit enough, they will attack you. So you cannot escape them. But if your habit, if your nature, or by any reason, if you develop those microorganisms, they develop resistance against you, then there are chances that your immunity will be compromised, that you may fall sick, or you may become disease, or you may become sick anytime. You, you will have a compromised immunity that can be attacked anytime. It's like already torn fabric. The second cause is the industrial chemicals. The industrial chemicals, they are released into water bodies and landfills, and both of them, landfill and water bodies, and both of them contaminate the area. And as I have said, there are trillions of microorganisms everywhere all the time. And this if these industrial chemicals, if these wastes, if they are not treated properly and disposed properly, what will they do? They will develop, the bacteria will develop immunity or resistance against them. The third one is the using of chemical drugs to enhance chemical drugs to enhance productivity. This is also a main cause of concern, and this is related to how we have become greedy. The profit mentality or the consumption culture, profit mentality and consumption culture, both of them have made us consume more. And in order to consume more, we need to buy more. And when we need to buy more, there is opportunity for profit and trade. And this opportunity to profit and trade, it makes some people to make money out of it. And the one unethical practice that's going on in farms, in dairy farms, in poultry farms, in pork farms, and meat industry, that the individuals here are given chemicals, given chemical drugs to enhance the productivity. So, like uh, like cows are administered injections, dairy injections, and milk enhancing hormones so that the output of milk can be increased, and this output of milk, the increased output of milk, it is supplied to the people needing it. So it's a corporate or trade thing, but this trade thing, what it has caused, it has uh, it has made the microorganisms that are involved in all these farm industries. These microorganisms have developed immunity or resistance against the chemicals that are given here or the antibiotics that are given here. And the next scary thing or next cause of concern is biomagnification. Take an example of A, B, and C. Now this A, it's an animal species. It is given antibiotics. Now a few out of million 50 bacteria manage to survive, and those bacteria, they get transmitted through other individuals. First, they may get transmitted to their own offspring. Second, they may be used by, for example, this is a meat. So this meat can be consumed by other species, even by human or any other carnivore. And this generation B, whether it is a human or any other animal, they will transmit the same class of bacteria to their own offspring. So I can say it is interspecies and intra-species transmission of both. First, bacterial strain plus the chemical, because the antibiotics, they are drugs, chemical drugs. So both these things are transmitted. Bacterial strain, the strain which has resisted a particular class of drug, and the chemical drugs itself, both are transmitted between species and in particular individuals of a species. Now what biomagnification is, this chemical drug, when it gets into your body, it it takes time to degrade it, takes time to biodegrade it. Now, if this biodegradation doesn't happen properly, what happens is this same chemical, it accumulates in your body, in the body of a particular individual. And if you keep taking this drug, this accumulation will increase and the strain along with it. If a particular chemical gets accumulated in your body, it is likely to make some changes in your DNA or genes. This may happen over hundreds of generations, but it will happen. And next, this same chemical drug, it gets magnified down the line. If particular species is taking up this particular drug, I take example of an oceanic species, water body. So let's say chemical fertilizers that are used in that are used to enhance the productivity of agriculture. Uh, After agriculture, those fertilizers not run away, sorry, they run off into nearby water bodies, or they may be uh, swept away by rains. And it's not a big brainer that all the water in the world, it finally drains into oceans. We all know that because earth is 75% water. Or so in that way, if some water is dropping somewhere, it is we can accept this thing that someday somehow this water is going to meet with ocean, or it is going to drain into a big ocean. In the same way, all the waters of farms and all those contaminated water from all farms, all agricultural runoff, all rivers, small or bigger one, they will drain into ocean. And the same chemical fertilizer that is swept away by any rain or river, they also end up in an ocean. Now, what happens to the animal and plant life in an ocean? So these chemicals, these are eaten by both plants and animals. And when they're eaten by the same evolution thing, that their genes will be transmitted to the upcoming generation, and this is how parent to parent thing, transmission of key material happens in both animal and plant species. And I have mentioned earlier that evolution also transmit the changes. So for a particular generation, a chemical drained into an ocean, plant ate it, animal ate it, and the same chemical will be transmitted, a strain of it will be transmitted down the generation. And with it, with the chemical strain, both chemical and the antimicrobial resistance, both will be transmitted down the line. So this is a major cause of concern. And when this chemical is transmitted down the line, it gets accumulated. And second thing, as we know, there is a food chain in the world, food chain and food web that keeps this ecosystem running. So I say a particular plant is eaten by small fish, and this small fish is eaten by a large fish, and this large fish is eaten by humans. So what happens here, that suppose say this particular plant species, it has 1 unit of chemical in it. Now this small fish, it ate many such plants, or say it ate 4 plants, so it has 4 units of that particular chemical. Next, this large fish, it ate 3 such small fish, so it has 12 units of that chemical. And if human, which ate that large fish, and we ate 5 such large fish, so we have 60 units of that chemical. This is how a particular chemical or particular drug is biomagnified inside species. So AMR and biomagnification both are a cause of concern. AMR AMR is how microorganisms develop resistance against chemicals, and in order to kill them we need more chemicals. So it's a vicious cycle because all microorganisms are not killed by a particular class of chemical. So a few microorganisms will survive, and those microorganisms that have survived, they have a key, they have the code to evade the chemical attack. They have developed the resistance. They have immunity now. And now those immune microorganisms, to kill them, we need higher dose, or we need higher class of chemicals. So we need more chemicals. But if some microorganisms evade even that higher class of uh, second class of drug, we need more chemical, or third class, or fourth, or higher class of chemical to kill it.